My name is Gaila Corrie, and I've been in the movement 48 years, almost 49. And to give you a background of how I came into the movement and I met JR, goes back to, the late 60s, 1960, 68, I believe, around that time, 69. And I used to work in the fashion industry. And working in the fashion industry, I got to meet Barbara Hill and Judy Carlisle, who also worked in the fashion industry. And the building that we worked in was like a block long. It had beauty shops, it had restaurants, it had everything. So we would meet at the beauty shop and get our hair and nails done, and we became very friendly, all three of us. Barbara Hill knew in my sharing that I had been to a lot of spiritual groups. And I was trying to find my guru. And so Barbara said to me, instead of hopping around to all these spiritual groups, why don't you come to one of the seminars of John Roger? And it's going to be held at a private home. I think her name was Sandy and Kurt. And give it a chance. Give it a chance. Go 5 times before you say no. And for some reason, she said 5 times, and I don't even know why. I don't even know why she said 5 times. But anyway, I decided to go, especially since I was working for her father in the fashion industry with swimwear, and I didn't want to rock the boat. So I said, okay, I'll go 5 times, and then if it's not for me, it's not for me. I'll leave. So my idea of a guru was kind of like an Indian guru with the long beard, the white long robe, flowing robes, doing the Om, like that, levitating. And so that's what I had in mind for my guru. And I always said, I will know who my guru is because he'll tell me, you finally come home. So I went to a seminar, and he was sitting on a platform. And he was nowhere near the guru I had in mind. Here's this good-looking guy dressed with a turtleneck and a suit, very modern, very self-confident, very self-assured. And I thought, this guy's really cocky. Who does he think he is? He doesn't look like a guru. So I sat there the whole time judging him inwardly. And then I'd all of a sudden go out and come back in, and go out again and come back in. And finally at the end, Barbara said, you've got to come and say hello to him. And I said, I can't do that. I'd be a hypocrite. I sat and judged him the whole time, and now I got to go face him. She said, do it anyway. So I reluctantly went up to him, and I said, how do you do, John? So I was judging him, so I went up to where he was. He was on a platform. I can remember the chair was a light blue chair. And I said, nice to meet you, John Roger. And I couldn't look at him in the eye. I'll be back sometime. And all of a sudden, I felt this force of light pushing me and forcing me to look right into his eyes. And there was this big, big smile. And he said, Gaila, you have finally come home. And that blew me away. But I was still still a doubting Thomas. So Barbara heard it. She said, did you see what he told you? And I said, I know. She said, well, you got to come 5 times before you say no. So every time I went to a meeting with her, she made sure I went. I'd go out cold, and I was in and out, and then I'd wake up and I'd say, I didn't hear a thing. What happened? And she said, it doesn't matter. You're catching it on the other side. So by the fifth time, I knew that I had a connection with him. I didn't know what it was, but I know that I had made an agreement to work with him. So that was the start of my coming into the movement. And it took me time because I was slow. I've always gone by the beat of my own drum.
What year was that?
This was in the late, almost close to 1970, close to that time. And so that's when I started. And I went at my own pace. I had aura balance when he used to do the aura balances. So I'd come over. I forget where he lived. He had a little house somewhere. I'm trying to think of where it was. and he would do the aura balances and all of that, everything in this house, and then he'd sit and have a cup of coffee. He did incredible healings without my realizing. I used to have a little nervous tick because I was an emotional person, and I had, I guess, scars from my childhood, emotional stuff from my family. And he'd say, I'm going to take care of that for you. 2 weeks later, it was gone. And this is how it all started. He was always very kind, very loving to me, very supportive, almost like a father, never yelled at me. And so I started going through all these changes. It's interesting because when I first got into the movement, I was living on the fast lane. I was dating top directors, producers. I was involved a little bit in the film industry. I went to all these big parties with famous people. I had all this attention, boyfriends, whatnot. And the minute I got into the movement, everything went from the out into the inner. So all of a sudden, I gave up a lot of things that I had thought was important, and that's when my journey started for inner spiritual work. I don't regret it one bit. It was an incredible experience. And some of the things I want to share about JR, how supportive and how loving he was to me, is that one time when I was in the garment industry, I worked for this horrible man that petty tyrant, you call them petty tyrants. And he made my life miserable. And I used to cry to JR, oh JR, it's so hard, send me the light. And always cry to him about this guy. He was the salesman that would come into my showroom, sit there and try to take over all my clients and ruin my day for me. All of a sudden one day he shows up with a whole gang of his group. You weren't there then. I don't think so. This was way back. And they all come in. And he goes, where's the manager? Oh, he wasn't my manager. Where's the salesman you were telling me? And he's sitting in the other desk like this, you know, with a big scowl on his face like he usually had. And he goes right up to him and stares him in the eyes, smiling from just totally smiling, a full face smile. And the guy started grinning from ear to ear and started smiling back at JR. And said, so nice to meet you. After that, he left me alone. He never, ever bothered me again. And then finally, when he finished, he said, well, I'm done here. I'm going to go do some shopping in the men's floor. So to go back to the petty tyrant, JR looked at him and was grinning from ear to ear. And all of a sudden, from this scowl on this petty tyrant's face, turned into a huge smile. And he became like a lamb. And JR went right to him and looked him straight in the face, in the eyes, and said, so nice to meet you. And the guy just grinned. Never, ever again did he bother me. Then JR said, well, my work is done here. Let's go shopping. Because in Fridays, in the mart, Fridays, you could people from the outside could come and buy samples. So they all went shopping after that. Nobody's heard of JR doing something like that. And this was one special gift. The other, and he did many things for me. The other gift was, we're having a seminar, and he's at Prana. Got it. Little scratch. He's at Prana, and he calls me up to, he's sitting, that's when he would have, they'd put a little podium, and he'd sit there also in a chair. Gaila, will you come up here? And I thought, oh, shoot, what have I done? So I went up there reluctantly. He says, come here, give me a hug. I said, sure, JR. And the minute I started hugging him, smoke started coming out everywhere, out of me and out of him. It was like a maze. You couldn't see him or me. And he was choking and I was choking. And he kept tapping me on the back. And smoke kept coming out and out and out. And he said to me, do you want me to get very sick to save your life? I said, no, JR. Why? He said, if you don't stop smoking right now, you're going to die of emphysema. I said, I promise you. Will you help me? He said, I will, but you've got to make the effort. So from that moment on, I stopped smoking. And it was very hard, but every night I dreamt of smoking one pack after another in my dreams until finally, eventually, The dream stopped, and I had no desire to smoke ever again. That was another big miracle that he did to me, and everybody witnessed it there. Oh God, there's so many. One was clearing a lifetime in France when I lived in France, and I won't go much into that, but he cleared a life where the whole thing was put in the newspaper about my experience in that lifetime.
New Day Herald?
Yeah,
the movement newspaper.
A newspaper, the movement newspaper, and they recorded the whole thing that happened. I was like in horrible pain on the floor, and I had a recall from that life in France, where I was part of the nobility of the French court, and how I died because I was part of nobility, you know, Marie Antoinette's time. And I had it was like the spasm and the pains that came through my neck, my back, my lower back, everything were horrible. And I told him, I said, is this for my life in France? He said, yes, it is. I said, I know, because I've had nightmares. Can we clear it? He said, yes, I will. But he said, first you're going to feel, I'm going to pull it was a sharp, long arrow, like one of those things with the sharp and the pole. And they put it through my neck all the way down, and I died that way in a public thing where they would humiliate nobility and have them die really terrible, and all the peasants would witness it. And he said, you're going to feel a sharp pain, but then it's going to go right away. And I did. Woo! And then it went. And I felt that this incredible healing took place. He said, that's been in your cell level memory. So it's going to heal, it's cleared, and don't bring it back. So that was another miracle. And that was in the Herald newspaper. I wish I could find out exactly when, because I would love, I don't know if they keep those, they save those. That's way back. But everybody talked about it. So that's another thing. And there were many miracles from him. He was always caring and nurturing and very loving to me. So he's very dear to to me. And I just love him. He's like my spiritual father. And I just really have gone into meditating a lot more and getting closer and closer to him, because I want to do his work. And I always pray that I let go and let God, and whatever it is, JR, Spirit, whatever it is that you want me to do, please guide me so I can do it for you. And I hope I live long enough to be able to do a lot more. So I'm very happy, Jay Sue, and I love you dearly, that you asked me to do this interview. I'm very grateful, and I've been wanting to do it for a long time. So God bless you. And I love you, JR. I love you, John Morton. I'm so grateful and happy I'm in the movement. This has completely, totally turned my life around and changed everything for me. So there's nothing better than this. And I'm very grateful.
Well, we usually end the interview by just, is there anything you want to say to JR? Or just say it to the camera.
JR, I love you so much. And I pray every day for your guidance and for your direction, and what it is that you want me to do for the highest good. I only want to live for Spirit, for you, to do God's work, and I want to definitely go back home to God. So please help me, guide me, and I know you're always with me, because when I do my SCs, I feel your presence. God bless you. I love you, and I love John.